Hello and welcome to the world of English literature. Tell me something. Have you heard of the apocalypse? It is the day when the world would end. Some people believe that the world would end as a result of global warming. Some are of the view that it may end as a result of extreme freezing. And looking at the current climatic conditions of the world, both seem possible. But I think the world may disintegrate due to many other reasons like greed, hatred, unwanted desires, etc., etc. And that is what the poet Robert Frost tries to convey in his poem called Fire and Ice. Before we read and understand the poem, let's have an introduction of Robert Frost. Born in 1874 in San Francisco, California, Robert Frost, an American poet. He was much admired for his depictions of the rural life in New England and his command over the American colloquial speech. His realistic poems portrayed ordinary people in everyday situations. 2 years later, after his graduation from Lawrence High School as a class poet, the New York Independent accepted his poem, My Butterfly. None of Frost's works were published until he was about 40. But later on, he went on to win 4 Pulitzer Prizes, making it a world record. He also became the most famous poet of his time. Here's something. Frost also was nominated 31 times, but never officially won a Nobel Prize in literature. His most famous works include Fire and Ice, the poem that we are about to do, Dust of Snow, The Road Not Taken, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, West Running Brook, Acquainted with the Night, The Lovely Shall Be Choosers, From Snow to Snow, and many more. He also wrote some famous plays like A Way Out, The Cows in the Corn, A Mask of Reason, A Mask of Mercy, etc. The poem Fire and Ice is amongst Frost's well-known works. So let's read and find out what this is about. Fire and Ice, written by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Fire and Ice was first published in the Harper's Magazine in 1920. The poem deals with the question, how are human beings going to destroy the planet? Well, it will succumb to suffocating heat or fire, like in global warming, or will it freeze like a nuclear winter or the exhaustion of the Earth's molten core? Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. What I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. The first 2 lines throw light on the debate in society on how the world will end. Scientifically, fire and ice stand for nuclear disaster and climate change. But Frost's use of fire and ice here is largely metaphoric. Ice and fire, as we know, are the opposites of one another. This suggests that most people have entirely opposing views on the end of the world. Ice and fire also represent 2 extremes, which could cause immense damage. In the next 2 lines, the poet provides his own opinion. He equates fire with desire. Here he may want to suggest that it is equal with passions, greed, or even anger. The poet has used fire as a metaphor for strong, consuming emotions like desire. It is a known fact that fire consumes and destroys, and so does extreme desire. The poet recalls his experiences with strong desire and tends to believe that it is those emotions and impulses that may lead the world down its final path. What do you think? And on that tragic note, it's time for me to say goodbye. But I will return for some very, very qualitative poems in time to come. Until then, see you soon. Goodbye. Tutormate. For more amazing video lectures, download the free app on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store.